Welcome to the African Voices in STEM series, a platform where we celebrate the brilliance, innovation, and sheer determination of African students and professionals in the world of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, including artificial intelligence. In this series, we go beyond mere stories. We craft a narrative of progress, resilience, and achievements, illuminating the path of pioneers in STEM fields across Africa.
Hi, my name is Audrey Chanakira, and I'm a software developer by profession. And in my spare time, I like to do, community initiatives whereby I share knowledge with young people and young professionals, especially in the area of technology. And yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell.
Thank you. Your upbringing and educational background. Can you share a bit about your upbringing and early experiences that shaped your interest in technology?
So that one is an interesting one. Growing up as a child, I was a very reserved child. Got bullied a little bit in primary school, so I was just in my shell. But I started playing, soccer, football, and it boosted my confidence as a child. And in my primary school days, I found interest in computers, whereby I used to play FIFA using my uncle's computer. And then I found it so fascinating, and I started playing around with Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and Paint. And I found it very interesting. So I wanted to find out more about computers, learn more about computers. So it was through gaming mostly. And fast forward, I decided to study information technology at the Polytechnic of Harare in Zimbabwe. That's when I started my official certification in IT. And going now into Namibia, fast forward again, I started studying information technology. I did a bachelor's in IT, an honors degree. And right now I am done with my master's degree in IT. So that has been my path in terms of what I chose to focus on.
Can you tell us about you did talk about your educational background.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to pay for your studies? Did you have any financial burden on your education journey?
So in terms of my education, I guess it starts from, primary school days till high school. That's where my parents supported me, to even university. My dad supported me until I finished my undergraduate. But before I actually graduated, I was in my third year. I got an internship at Green, and so they decided to also pay for my studies to do my master's as well. And so company-wise, it paid for my studies while I was doing my master's, but the rest of my studies were supported by my parents.
Were there any key moments or mentors that influenced your path? I think you said mention, right? Daily.
But when it comes to mentors, it depends with how we define mentors. Because for me, I feel like I didn't have active mentors in my life. But when I look back, I say, oh, okay, maybe this was a mentorship, experience that I experienced. But without that, proactive to say, okay, I'm your mentor. Because I struggled in terms of finding a mentor that cares about my life and where I want to be in life. So I guess I would say I had passive mentors that would just give me advice and try to make me focus on specific stuff. One notable one is when I started to work professionally. I was a bit skeptical in terms of pursuing a career in mobile app development because I didn't really know that area. But my supervisor at that time really encouraged me to focus on iOS development. And I'm telling you, that was a very defining moment for me. I fell in love with iOS development and never looked back. So I guess that's one of my major highlights in terms of mentorship and how it shaped my career path.
I think we will get into this at some point, but I wanted to ask on the point of mentorship, how do you play a role in in the lives of young Audreys out there. You, I know for certain, are a mentor at this point in your career.
Yeah.
How would you have liked to be mentored, and what are you doing?
That's a very good question. So for me, I think what we lack is people that care deeply in terms of mentoring young people. What do I mean by that? I mean, people are busy, especially professionals, people that have made it already, experts. They're highly busy people, and it's difficult to get their attention. So that's why I encourage people to care about young people that really want to be mentored, because, when you're young, you're still a little bit confused, you don't know what to do. And being, deliberate and, just to make sure that you make time for the young people that need mentorship. So in my case, what I do is that I have students that mostly come to me, and various young professionals. They really ask for my time in terms of mentorship. They tell me what their goals are and what they want to achieve. And basically, sometimes it's just advice on how to be aligned in their various professional areas. So I do take time, really. I take time in my schedule to sit down with them, just to get to know them and understand them and guide them however I can. And that's the intentionality that I have in terms of mentoring young people. And I wish that we have more mentors like that actually are very intentional when it comes to mentoring young people. Make time for them. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, just to, encourage them. Because most of our young people, in terms of my experience, they say, you guys are too busy for us. You don't have time for us. So it's difficult really to seek that active mentorship that we want. So yeah, I guess that's my encouragement in terms of mentorship. Just be involved, make time, and be part of the initiatives that are there and the platforms that are available in the country, in that networking session where you have a minute or two where people can ask you, and then you can guide them however they want.
Okay. Current projects and professional life. As a successful iOS developer, can you tell us about a recent project you worked on that you found particularly challenging or rewarding?
Yeah, so I have a very interesting one on that. And it was actually during the COVID time, when COVID hit. That was about 2018, 2019, 2020, somewhere there. Yeah, when COVID really hit us hard. And a lot of things changed, in the business world. Businesses were shutting down, people were in lockdown, and we were so confused about what will our lives be. But during that time, we came up with an idea at, the workplace that I was at, that I'm still at actually, where we decided to come up with a food ordering app where people could still order their favorite food during lockdown, and also to encourage restaurants not to close down, to also make them, remain in business. And we wanted to bridge that gap, right? So it was a challenge to build that system, because there was a lot of, logistic issues that we had to handle. But at the end of the day, I'm proud of the work I've done in that project. So the project is Step a Meal, whereby people could order their food from their favorite restaurant, and then we are the middleman that brings food to the customer, and then also make sure that the restaurant is still in business during that time. And it's still running on till today. So that was one of the projects that I was, proud to be part of. In terms of difficulties and challenges, of course they were, because at first we found out that sometimes restaurants were not willing to come on board, because they, sometimes when there's new technology, people are a little bit, resistant to it. They don't understand what it means. But it slowly became popular when more restaurants were coming in, Rocco Mamas, Mac and Bean, a lot of those, big restaurants were coming on board onto our app, and people loved it, and they would sometimes request for their favorite restaurants to be on the app as well. And it encouraged that, it had that healthy ecosystem where, people were just encouraging to use the system and all of that. And that was one of the challenges, but mostly one of the biggest challenges that I experienced during that project was the logistics aspect, whereby we need to have delivery people to actually deliver the food, and we needed to manage that and ensure that our services is still top notch, because no one wants their food to be late. No one wants their food not to be cooked right or something like that. So that has been a challenge in terms of managing those, logistic stuff and all of that. But we learned and we grew and we're still up and running. We have over 10,000 users on the application today. And yeah, a lot of restaurants in Windhoek. And I'm proud of that project. And it's always delightful to see that people always use that. Sometimes they call me to say, oh, Audrey, I'm using Tap and Meal. It's a really cool app and give me great feedback. And yeah, I'm proud of that project. So yeah.
Thank you. You are the co-founder of the Zim Developers community. Could you tell us more about the community and what motivated you to establish it? And what impact has it had on the tech landscape in Zim?
Right, so Zim Developers came about when I was actually looking for a platform in Zim whereby you have a group of tech people, like-minded people in technology, because that's my area of expertise. So I wanted to find where can I get this community. Looked on social media, you'd find that there were groups, WhatsApp groups about tech in Zim, but mostly they were not, producing the content that I really needed in terms of learning new stuff, getting a network of reach, knowledgeable people to collaborate with in different projects if there's need for that. So I then decided, to start my own thing. I collaborated with George, who is my co-founder. We had the same pain points and we're like, hey, why not start our own thing and also drive this initiative? So that's why we decided to start Zim Developers. We actually started it as a Twitter page. And we were surprised by how many people were very interested in Zim Developers. Sometimes people would talk about tech and then retweet with our name on it, and that's how we got exposed. So the main reason why we started it was to have a community of technology professionals in Zimbabwe, whether it's students, academics, business people that are interested in tech and innovative ideas, to come together on one platform, share ideas, come up with solutions that benefit our country, our societies. We have so many issues in Africa and even in our local communities, drug abuse and all of that. So we're trying to figure out how can we start from, let's say, diverting youth to focus on innovative ideas instead of drugs, by having, lots of tech events and hackathons and all of those things. So that's the main reason why we started Zim Developers community. And people love it. People always want to have, events happening around. And it shows really the need to having such organizations in the country. And we don't only operate in Zim, we also operate in Namibia, where I'm currently based. In other countries, we have partners in South Africa, Lesotho, and all of that, because we want to have that, community, sub-Saharan Africa, and even beyond the rest of Africa, so that we can, produce innovative ideas. Because technology, at the end of the day, is not just having something cool that, gets you paid well, but it's for us to make a positive impact in our societies. Like I said, we have so many issues. We can use tech and the knowledge we have to solve some of these issues. So yeah, that's how Zim Developers was birthed.
In a TED Talk you recently gave, you spoke about AI's influence on our music preferences and well-being. Could you elaborate on how you see AI evolving in these areas in the near future and other areas as well?
Yeah, so when it comes to artificial intelligence, I believe that sometimes, if not most of the times, our people don't quite understand what the technology is. And to be honest, AI has been around for a while now. It's only that, with the trendy names like ChatGPT and all of that, people seem to realize, oh, AI is here, but it has always been there in our smartphones, in how we communicate, in our email. Sometimes you get suggestions on completing an email. That's part of AI embedded in our systems already, but people are just not aware. So in terms of, how AI, when I spoke in that TED Talk, how AI impacts in our music tastes and if it links to our mental health state, was just to make people aware of the intricacies that AI has and that we are already using it subtly and we might not realize it. So it's to make people aware that, oh, AI is here. It listens, to my actions, to how I do things, on my phone and all of that. and it can predict certain conditions about my life, which is amazing because imagine you being told that, oh, okay, maybe you need to see someone because you're not quite okay mentally. You need to, get some help because you're listening to sad songs all the time and all of that. So that was just to make people aware of how AI is already integrated in our everyday life and how we use technology. And in terms of how AI can be used in the future and its prospects and all of that, I believe that in general, the definition of AI is basically using lots of data and try to make it meaningful, right? And I spoke about this earlier when I was mentioning about the Zim Developers community, how we can solve problems in our society. And AI plays a crucial role, especially these days. I have friends that, use AI to combat human trafficking. And that's a good initiative coming from technology. So it can be any way. You can use it in health, in education, depending on what problems you want to solve, analyze, visualize it. In the country here in Namibia, every day, almost every day, I read the papers. I see people killing each other, suicides, and passion killing. And what does that data tell us? Can it tell us something about the mental state of our people, of our youth? And how can we try to avoid such things from happening? So that's basically how AI can revolutionize how we, mend our societies, develop our societies, our nations, and all of that. So AI has a great potential. Of course, we cannot talk about AI without addressing the ethical issues that are always involved when it comes to handling people's data and it being trustworthy as well, because it's important to have a trustworthy AI. And that includes people, because in the tech space, we call it garbage in, garbage out. If you train an AI model to learn something that is absolutely incorrect, it's going to spit out incorrect information. So we need to have governing, ethical policies that make sure that the AI that we're trying to build in solving different issues has accurate data, reliable, and it's ethical. So yeah, that's what I think about AI in the future.
You're a Google Women's Techmaker Ambassador. How do you approach the task of promoting women empowerment in the tech industry, and what changes or improvements do you hope to see in the coming years?
Okay, so I love being, proactive in terms of empowering young girls and women in tech because it's a fact we are very few in the tech space. And it's always important for me to encourage the girl child to also take up this career so that we can, be added and grow in that area as women. So in terms of how I do that in my, positions that I have, being a Google Women Techmakers Ambassador has given me the opportunity to collaborate with other women around the globe and in Southern Africa as well. So what we do is that we host events, tech events, whereby we try to put the word out there. We try to promote Google technologies and how women can take up careers in various, areas of expertise. And that's how we meet these young ladies, these young women, to really understand what it means to be a woman in tech. And they also hear from us our experiences in the industry and what it takes for you to be that person that can be looked up to. So we try to, by all means, to be that practical example in terms of, the work we do and encourage young women and, girls to be part of this industry. And in terms of the future, I think what I can say that is important for us women that have already made it in this tech industry to not forget that the younger people that are trying to get where we are at and even be more, to help them, assist them, because sometimes you find that we do preach about women empowerment, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you find it, it's difficult to convince that woman manager in this position because she's so, she's so difficult to understand and all of these things. So we want to have a balance. When we preach, we need to be active and proactive, as women. So I encourage women, those that are in positions provide platforms, provide gateways for young people to be on board, make it, seamless for them, make it easy for them and not difficult for them to be part of the profession, because it doesn't make sense to encourage women and girls to be in the tech industry, but at the same time they are being hindered by the very women that are already there. Might sound like an oxymoron, but it's reality. So that's my encouragement in terms of the future. Just be open and provide platforms where girls can feel free to ask and learn from all the professionals that are already there. And yeah, we might have a better tech ecosystem in the future. Your commitment to diversifying the tech industry is evident. What initiatives or strategies do you think are crucial in creating a more inclusive environment for underrepresented groups in technology? Yeah. So in terms of what's crucial, I think one of the main things is mentorship, active mentorship, because I think there's this gap between the academia and the industry. There's just some disconnects because people are being taught to learn something from old books and old technology and all of that. But in the industry, it's something totally different. I'm telling you what I studied in university, as I didn't quite use it in the industry. I had to relearn from scratch again, which tells a lot about the huge gap between these two industries, which should be working together. And when I say about mentorship, I mean, we need, proactive academics, which are our lecturers, professors, to be, active in the industry. Look for people in the industry to expose their students to what exactly is needed in the industry. Right now, we are talking about, in Namibia at least, green hydrogen and all of that. What does it mean for the academic world as well as the professional world in the country? Which means we need more graduates in that area so that at least they create jobs that is, slowly getting in demand in terms of green hydrogen in the country. So we need more people that really understand and can translate what's being taught to our young people and what's actually being applied to that. So yeah, I think that's one of the main things. And there's a lot really in terms of infrastructure of the country. Internet is a bit expensive, not everyone can afford. And a lot of things always happen in the big cities, and you're hardly seeing, innovative hackathons or initiatives happening in the rural areas where you expose the less advantaged, the marginalized communities to technology. Is that happening? Not quite. Why are we not doing that? I'm not sure. But we need to start from there, whereby we can slowly build infrastructure in those areas. We can slowly try to look for innovative ways to utilize what we have in terms of exposing our younger generation to technology. We have the San people, we have a lot of the Himba tribe. Do they have technology? What do they understand when it comes to technology? Is it something they are open to, to use, and all of those things? Because we just can't say, okay, we are in the fourth industrial revolution, but our people don't quite understand. They don't even have smartphones, and all of that. So we need to consider those things as well. Build infrastructure in the remote areas and support our people. Personal passions and advocacy for cutting-edge technology. Beyond your professional life, what are your personal passions and interests in the field of technology or otherwise? Passion. Oh, I think, to be honest, my passions are a little bit linked with my career, and it's a little bit difficult to separate the two because I'm passionate about young people. I believe when you teach or impact young people positively in terms of mindset, we can have a better Africa, because my heart is for Africa. I believe we can do so much in our continent, and we need young people that are going to be good leaders and, help us, be where we need to be as a continent. So I guess my passion lies in, mentoring young people, just sharing the knowledge that I have, interacting, collaborating with them, and ensuring that, we try to have solutions. Like I said, being in tech does not just mean that you're getting paid well, you're going to drive a nice car, have a nice house. Yes, while all of that is nice, but we really want practical thinkers. and, refrain from that mentality of just complaining about, oh, the government is doing this, I don't have this, but we want to create an environment that we need. So it starts by mentality. So I think my passion lies in just shaping the mentality of young people for them to think right in terms of what action they can do. There's so many skills that you can get. And it's not only in tech, by the way. You can do something in engineering, in science, chemistry, whatever it is that you're passionate about, even art. So we need, people that think differently and are not just confined in that mentality of just waiting to be spoon-fed or just complaining about A, B, C, D. Do something about it. Be innovative. What can you do to solve the problem than to be the problem is what I'm truly passionate about. And besides that, in my spare time, I like to obviously play sport, play games, play video games, because that's my, personal time just to relax. But at most, I like to spend time with my family because I think it's important to have, family around you because those are my greatest supporters. When you see Audrey out there, you see, a well-connected person, but really, I'm a very, soft person, very sensitive, and I like to be around people that motivate me and encourage me. And being a believer, which is where all my core values are based on, I like to also, be part of a community of believers as well. And that's in a nutshell my passions.
I want to stray a little bit away from the thresholds that we have emotionally. You speak about innovation or being innovative. Looking at where tech has gone in terms of social media, in terms of AI, in terms of a lot of things.
Yeah.
How would you advise? I think I'm also asking this question for myself.
Okay.
After what you just mentioned about how tech in general can help spur up innovation and how why should be proactive in such a way to use it and to be an open-minded thinker, radical thinker.
Yeah.
In a way, how do you advise someone in today's space to kind of, because this information is oversaturated information that's happening and everyone is doing everything, and how do you block out things noise? Because I think innovation is only kind of born when it's somehow out of silence as well, and in listening to your inner voice.
Yeah.
How would you advise someone to kind of be innovative?
Be innovative. Yeah.
You hear the words, be innovative, be creative.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I guess I'll start from, obviously, as an individual, you have to have a purpose in life. What is it that you want to achieve in life? And that's one thing. The other thing is that where you come from, because always begins, because that's always my context, where I come from. What is it that I came from, where I come from? And now that I'm educated, what is it that I can do to solve the issues from where I come from my community, my society? And then you start from there, because it's always good to have realistic goals. You don't have to come up with the next phase, the next Twitter, and all of that. Start small. Look from your community, because that's where you were brought up. That's how you grew up. Are there any things that you feel like it's a problem? I mean, I come from a community whereby water is an issue. And if that's an issue, it brings more problems like cholera, malaria, all of those things. So with the skills I have, what can I do to be part of the solution than to just wait for a politician or for my member of parliament to come and solve it? How can I be proactive in the sense that I go to those people, hey, look, we have this technology that purifies water, whatnot, at least, people can get access to safe and clean water there. Because, to be honest, problems are everywhere. And it's a matter of just identifying that. And you have to simplify these issues and tackle them one by one. That's now how you build innovation, whereby you don't have to recreate the wheel. You can use what's already there. We have people that come from communities whereby there's so much poverty and people are opting to go to those Arab nations to get jobs. But we see, we hear from, places like BBC that people are being mistreated, they're being trafficked. How can we try to avoid those things? First, we need to create a conducive environment within our society, and because people are running away from something, obviously. So we need to find ways on how to better our societies, because I believe that's where it starts. Where you sleep, the location you are in, it tells a lot about the state of your community, your nation, your continent. So when you start from there in trying to be part of the solution, innovative ideas will come. That's when you try to make a decision whether or not, or if I can use technology in this, or if I can use whatever skill that it is in either making, people aware, directing people to something that's more positive, and all of that. So yeah, you just have to find a way to solve a problem, because at the end of the day, we are trying to solve problems so that we can live more healthier, more happier, and have more stability in our lives. So yeah, that will be my advice.
Thank you. As a passionate advocate for cutting-edge technologies, are there specific areas or trainings within the tech industry that currently excites you the most?
Oh, that excites me the most, I think the area of AI, not because it's been a buzzword these days, but I see lots of potential in that area, because I've seen how some of, experts have used this technology to solve real problems, be it cancer, in the health sector. I talked about human trafficking, child abuse, mental health issues. And I see it has great potential in making our society better, only if we make sure that it's ethical and it's trustworthy. I think those are one of the two challenges that we need to solve before we can actually try to implement it in our lives. So yeah, I'm excited about AI. That's one of my excitement. And really, it's data. Data is everywhere. And we are now in a generation whereby we need to make meaning out of the huge data that we have in terms of trends, where we have come from, where we are going, what can this information tell us about our future? Can we already predict certain things before they even happen by just analyzing our behaviors, our consumerism, all of those little things. So that's one of the most exciting parts for me personally.
There are people who believe in the geek gene hypothesis, claiming people should have the natural talent to excel in computing sciences. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, that's a very interesting one. The geek gene, like you're born with it or something, I don't know. But for me, based on my life experience, I just had an interest really in computers, and I took the initiative to learn more. So I wouldn't say I was born with a geek gene, because trust me, even mathematics was a problem for me when I was in primary school and all of that. But I took action in trying to make sure that I understand the fundamentals of whether it's mathematics, science, and all of that. So I don't think, okay, maybe some people have a natural, brain to be calculative and be logic wired, and it comes natural to them. But I think it takes nurturing and being proactive in taking action, in learning something and being an expert in that. Because I can say I was born a programmer. I literally wanted to be a lawyer when I was a kid. I wanted to be a pilot, because I felt like that's what I want to be. But again, later on, as I grew, I realized, okay, I don't think that's my forte, but let me try computers. And when I started studying computers, it was difficult for me to understand the fundamentals of programming, but I, tried to make sure that I make the time to learn and understand. And it took time for me till I got there. So it takes effort, really. It takes initiative. You have to work towards what you want to be, and take advantage of the natural talents that you already have, because you don't have to discard them to say, okay, if I'm not born a programmer, then I cannot be a computer scientist. No, you can be anything you want to be. So yeah, I guess that's what I can say.
What is something that someone wouldn't know by looking at your profile? Any fun fact?
So, any fun facts about me? Yeah, it's hard. This one is a tough one because I think I talk about myself a lot on social media, so people might know me in and out. But in case you didn't know, I used to play soccer. I love soccer. Um, I've always thought that I would be a professional footballer one day. I wanted really to go all the way, but it didn't work out. I had to focus on school. But yeah, if you didn't know, I used to play soccer since I was a teenager. I used to actually to play street football in the streets back in my hometown, where I used to play with the guys, with our neighbors. That's how it started, and people called me Eto'o. Samuel Eto'o was named after, the Cameroonian legend Samuel Eto'o. So I used to dribble the guys in the streets, and even till now, people ask me, like, why you not play soccer? I thought you were gonna be, a national legend. I was like, not really, but yeah, I did have my fun, and I love playing FIFA. Like that one, I mean, I've played with so many guys, and when I beat them, they get angry. I guess that's one thing that people might not know about me. I love playing FIFA. So yeah, that's about me.
Definitely a fun.
Um,
Finally, yes. What are your pieces of advice for African youth? But I want to kind of narrow it down from your field to what you do. Okay. For young Audreys or yeah. All right. So my pieces of advice to African youth that had interest in technology is, I think the first one is get the right mentors. Be very intentional about getting a mentor because that's going to help you in a lot of things. Number two is create an environment that matches your thinking, how you think, your mentality, because that's going to help you as a future leader as well. Why I'm always mentioning about being a leader. I believe everyone is a leader, whether or not you have an office or not. You're a leader from where you come from within your family. They're gonna look up to you one day. You need to nurture that aspect. So mentality is one of the biggest thing for me, and being able to receive criticism well, because mostly in the tech space, people want to be, they know they are the gurus and all of that. No one can tell them anything. I think it's always important to remain humble because you can never stop learning. Technology is rapidly evolving every day. Every day you learn something new, and it's not going to stay behind for anyone. You have to catch up with the times. Sometimes one day you're an expert in a programming language, the next day you're not because it's obsolete. And you have to learn something new again because the industry demands that. So we are in a very demanding industry, and it really needs you to be very flexible. Don't be rigid, be open to all opportunities and possibilities, because that's how tech is. I mean, AI is now threatening other people's jobs because it can do certain things so well. So you need to be very flexible in terms of just adjusting quickly, because that's how technology is, aggressive. It's very aggressive. It's tomorrow you are hearing of a new app that is trending. What are you going to do about your Facebook? Maybe Twitter might be obsolete. You never know. It just goes on with the market and how people feel about certain things. So you need to be ready for that as a young person in tech.